This week, we fly to Saskatoon, where I'm meeting with Larry Rosia, the CEO of Saskatchewan Polytechnic. He shares 4 pillars of Sask Poly's internationalization strategy.
If you look at today's problems and tomorrow's problems, I think the solutions are interdisciplinary and intercultural.
That's not supposed to be red, is it?
I think I got us into trouble now.
I think we're going down.
Strap in for another 10 with Ken. One of the fundamental things we wanted to talk about today is internationalization. And internationalization has kind of been a top priority for a lot of institutions in Canada. Do you want to talk broadly about where that's coming from and how you see it here at Saskatchewan Polytechnic?
When you read all the reports from World Economic Forum, from the Conference Board of Canada, they're talking about one of the skills of the future being a cultural competency that students should graduate with, so that they understand different cultures and they understand the dynamics of working in a global environment. It's extremely important, especially in Saskatchewan, where we're a big exporter of a lot of our product and a lot of our commodities, for our students to understand and have that global competencies.
So part of it obviously is about recruiting a body of international students to campus to expose students here to the whole planet's backgrounds, ethnicities, and cultures, right?
That's part of it. So we've stepped back from the approach and we've decided that we want to internationalize the whole institution. We're looking at a 4-pillar sort of approach to internationalization. The first pillar would be student and faculty exchanges, and we're doing a fair amount of that right now. We're sending faculty and students abroad for study terms, for study tours, to do different types of project work. But not everyone wants to travel, and as an organization, we can't afford to send the whole organization overseas. So our second pillar is to recruit international students. So we'll recruit international students from countries that we've identified as being important to our future, and we'll put those students in classes with Canadian students. Having a different lens, a different perspective, a different culture, lend their ideas to a problem is really interesting, and it's really interesting to understand how they think and get to know some of their cultures.
A lot of theorists around corporate culture and innovation emphasize this need for diverse perspectives to kind of spark new ways of thinking outside the box, new angles to create innovation and new ideas. That diversity is a fundamental piece.
Exactly, and that's something that I really believe in. And if you look at today's problems and tomorrow's problems, I think the solutions are interdisciplinary and intercultural.
Right.
So the third pillar is to do international applied research projects, where we'll have a couple of partners and we'll have a project, and students from different locations will be able to use technology to work and solve an industry problem. And then at the end of it, perhaps bring the students together to present the capstone project. So that's the way companies work these days. I mean, we have architecture designers, engineers that work in different countries on projects, right. And our students need to get used to working with technology to solve problems and to innovate and do applied research from remote locations. So that's the third pillar. The fourth pillar I wanted to mention was international project work, which falls in line with what we're saying here now around international training for pilots. We teach pilot training at Saskatchewan Polytechnic, and this is one of our simulators so that we can kind of replicate the real world. So if a country wanted to provide some pilot training, then we would do that as sort of a project within that country and provide training remotely, or we'd bring pilots from other countries here, students, and teach them to be pilots. So student and faculty exchanges, recruiting international students to study at Saskatchewan Polytechnic, international applied research projects, and international project work. Those are the 4 pillars we'll use to internationalize Saskatchewan Polytechnic.
So why does this matter to your institution, but to your students, to the province, to the country?
Well, I think Canada as a whole needs immigration. I mean, we do not have a population that's producing at a rate to even sustain our population that we have right now. So, this diversity is important to Saskatchewan, it's important to Saskatchewan Polytechnic, but I think it's going to provide our students with the ability to work with different cultures, to live with different cultures. And when students graduate from the organization, they're going to work with companies that do business internationally. And I believe an employer that is interviewing a student for a possible job, if that student has actually spent time in some of those countries, understands global travel, understands different cultures, I think that's an added value as well. I often say Saskatchewan runs on Saskatchewan Polytechnic. And at Saskatchewan Polytechnic, we believe cultural diversity is one of our differentiators and strengths.
Well, thank you, Larry. I know you got a busy day up in front of you. Thank you for taking some time to chat with me this morning.
Thank you, Ken. It's always a pleasure, and anytime that we have the opportunity to get together as well, you always expand my thinking and give me some other things to stay awake at night and think about. We're looking forward to an exciting day today, talking more about the future of education and some of those disruptors. So,
Excellent.
thank you.
We have a world of higher ed innovations and bright ideas to bring you in the weeks ahead. To be sure you don't miss a thing, take a moment now to subscribe. And thanks for watching.
Cool factor just went up, guys. You guys look like you know what you're doing now with the headset.
This is like the Millennium Falcon. You get these little,
There you go.
little things. Just torpedoes.
It's bad to put somebody in the cockpit when they don't know what they're doing. I think we can turn those off. That I figured out.